Hey everyone, today I'm working on a Tyco C-430. It's real similar to the C-630 that I worked on in a prior video, but it does have a few different problems that we're going to address. This one I picked up off eBay. It wasn't in the best shape. It said it ran, but not well, and as you can see there, it doesn't run very well. I'm assuming that the wheels are filthy, maybe that it's got bad contacts. Um, where the wires meet the motor. Could be a lot of other things as well, that all just kind of are compiled together that are making it run rough. So as you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and start tearing it apart. I have the rear truck popped off, and it has the spring wasn't sitting in there on top of the truck against the body, so it wasn't gliding like it was supposed to. So I went ahead and pulled all that out. You can see these wheels here where I'm pointing, they're cracked. And I did speed up this video, just for the fact that the video would have been like an hour long if I wouldn't have speeded it up. This was kind of a time-consuming little deal that I did, but I enjoy working on them, so I went ahead and took my time and did it. The wheels were filthy. The axles were filthy. They had hair and what looked like carpet remnants wrapped around the wheels, which I'm sure was causing part of the tension against the axles to where it didn't want to turn like it was supposed to. And you can see that spring. I'm trying to get it unwrapped off of that wire where it had come loose and got hung in there. I do have replacement plastic wheels for the axles that I took out, and I'm just robbing them off another set of axles from an engine that I had to completely just disassemble because it was junk. You can see that the contact there where the screw has the eyelet in the side of the truck is in good shape. Now that I have that truck mounted back in there and that spring in where it goes, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the front truck. As you can see, this one only has one spring instead of three, and the truck itself clips onto what I'm going to call the engine block. Yeah, you can see where I'm trying to pop it loose here because the hooks hook on the back and the front. There it is. And you can see it's wet inside. Somebody had tried to put a little oil in there, and that could have been part of the problem too. Those wheels pick up power through the actual engine block itself. So if you have non-conductive lubricants on that block, and I'm going to assume that's the case, it could give it trouble picking it up too. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all that out. I'll end up wiping the whole engine down, or motor down, whenever I get done taking it apart and putting it back together. You can see I'm turning the engine inside the housing, and it's all free. And right now I'm trying to pop the brackets off that hold the motor in place inside the body. Sometimes they're a little difficult, and I like to take my time with those because if you break them, if you don't have extras sitting around, then you're kind of stuck trying to glue them back together or trying to fix them. So I do everything I can to keep from breaking them. Now I did finally get that off, and now I'm going to go ahead and pop the gears off of the side of the motor. And you can see there's hair and lint and stuff like that under the gears. And you can see I'm kind of just twisting the screwdriver and prying up. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can. You don't really ever know. With these engines, they can be 30 or 40 to 50 to 60 years old, depending on when they were manufactured. So I'm trying to be as gentle as I can when I take them apart because the plastic pieces just love to break. Yep, there's a hair, more just gunk. Part of that could just be dirt and debris too from the old grease that was in it as well. But I just try to scrape as much of that out of there as I can, and then get it off of the gears too. You can see they're kind of dirty as well. I did buy some oil. It's not like perfect, what I would consider model type oil, but it does work really well, and it's made for electric motors and that too. So I just use a very little amount of that, and as you see those drops that it makes huge drops. So I use a Q-tip to kind of absorb what I don't use, and then finish wiping in what I want to put in behind where the gears sit. With them being plastic gears against a metal housing, it's really best to have some kind of oil in there to help reduce friction. You can see there's another hair I'm pulling off. And make sure that you put that gear with the teeth to the inside on the little spline. Otherwise, it won't drive it and turn the wheels. Okay, going to the other side, I am going to go ahead and take this apart and let you see what the inside looks like. These are tricky to put back together, so I hate taking them apart, but you get a lot better results when you do take them apart, clean them up, and put them back together. It'll also give me more of an idea of what the how well it was treated in its past life. You know, how if it got hot, you know, if the springs are warped, if the commutator is really filthy. It just gives me a better idea of what it's been done with it since it's been owned. And it doesn't look terrible. You can see the two brushes sitting there on that plate, and I'm going to pull them off with a set of tweezers. And it's dark, but it's not like burnt black nasty. Now you're going to see here in a second, you see how easy it turns. You are going to see here in a second how I clean it. I use 91% rubbing alcohol, and I get a Q-tip wet, and I just rub that until I get it as clean as I possibly can. See, I'll take and rub that plate and try to get it clean. I do have to kind of pinch that gear on the backhand side to hold it still, so I can try to rub it down and get it clean. And then I'll take a dry Q-tip too and go ahead and rub it again to get the alcohol back off and try to get as much of that soot out of there as I can. And you can see the filth that comes out of them. I'll take both the brushes and I put them in that little cap that's got alcohol in them. I let them sit for just a minute. And then I'll put them on that paper towel. I'm going to dry them off just a little bit. And then I just kind of roll them around in my fingers to get a lot of that soot and stuff off. It's really hard to clean them because they're so small. While they sit and dry, I'll take a Q-tip and I run in those cracks in the commutator and try to pull out as much soot as I can. That'll make a difference too. And when you think you've got it about as clean as you can get it, you can go ahead and start putting it back together. See, I set the brushes on and try to get them as close to where they were originally as I can. And then as long as my springs will stay inside those two holes there, which they didn't, they're going to fall out. then you can try to set that plate back on. See, I thought I had it the first time. Sometimes I get lucky and I do, but if they're not lined up perfectly, they do exactly what they did here, and that spring did fall out. And you have to really keep an eye on them, because those springs, if you lose them, it's pointless. You might as well turn it into a dummy roller. And this part is kind of time consuming. And if you see here, that I'll speed it up even more, because it does take a while to actually get the brushes lined up with the springs on that plate. And if you look, it did it again. It moved them away again. I did get the plate on there now. It should be ready to go. I take one of my old testers, or not tester, but one of my old controllers, and I use it as a tester, and you see the light came on, and the engine did power up with the plate being held like that, even without the screws in. So now that I know that it's actually working like it's supposed to, I'll go ahead and put the screws in and put that plate on. And don't over tighten those screws or you'll strip them. It's real easy to do. Then I'm going to test it one more time, and we've got good power. It's working like it's supposed to. All my gears are in good shape. I turned the gears to make sure that the commutator inside is turning, and the windings are all in good shape as well. I'm going to put just a little bit of oil, I mean just a little bit, on that center pin where that gear is, and then I take my Q-tip and I dry it up a little bit. That way I don't get excess oil where I don't want it. They don't need a lot of oil, but they do need it. Now that I have the block in, I'm going to go ahead and set the wheels back in. I did wipe those wheels down a little bit and get a lot of that oil and that off of them. I'm going to go ahead and put the truck on and snap it in place. And now I got to work on the rear. I found a couple of wheels that I was able to just directly replace them, instead of having to try to swap out the plastic. They were not split. And I found a decent set of wheels to put in. Make sure that you put your brass on the opposite sides. You can see where I'm pointing there, so that your pickups do what they're supposed to, otherwise you'll get a dead short. Putting on my clip-on trucks. trying to stay within you guys' view when I put it together. Here's the truck cover or side frame that I have as a spare that I'm going to go ahead and put on it. It didn't come with one. It was missing that one. So I took this one off of another truck, and I think I have it just right to where I can put it on. And I've got my glue here. This stuff works really well. That I'm going to go ahead and put on and get it glued on. I wouldn't necessarily advise doing it while it's on the locomotive. If you can do it while the truck cover's off, I would. In this case, I already had it together, and I've done it a few times before. I think I do end up taking it back off. I think I had trouble getting the pins to line up right and pop in place. I didn't want it to be kind of crooked. Yeah, that's what it was. I had trouble lining up the side frame and getting those pins to fall in those holes, because this particular side frame came off a different truck. Naturally, when I pulled it out, if the hole was a little different or slightly different size, it can be difficult to get it on this way. And now my glue's drying, so I went ahead and naturally it all fell apart, but I went ahead and took it all off so that I could try to get that attached without getting glue stuck on the truck. What I ended up doing was just taking my tweezers and those outer flanges, just kind of pinched them a little and smashed them to get them to become a little more pointed again. Yep, it broke a little chunk off there, but that piece was actually in the way and wasn't allowing it to go through the hole like it was supposed to. And there's the first one. There we go. And then I believe, let's see here. Yeah, we're going to put some glue on the back side of those side frames as well to try to help get the thing to stay on as long as it possibly can. And I've had it together for a couple weeks now, and I haven't had a problem. But you can see here, the light doesn't flicker. It's staying on. Put it in reverse, there it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. Have any questions, let me know.